Let me ask you about some names that have been mentioned. Newt Gingrich, Secretary of State, Rudy Giuliani, possibly as Attorney General. I don't know what role Chris Christie might play. To me, if you ask my personal opinion, they should let him stay home. What about a Giuliani and a Newt, and who might you see emerging from, the spokespeople he's had that you've had chance to see, and maybe even, Kellyanne Conway? Who would you think would make a good press secretary?
Steve, let me give you some advice on the personnel issues. And I hated it whenever there was an opening at the White House. And I was there during the transition in 2000 and had to deal with all these issues about who will get appointed.
Right.
No one has a clue. Everybody loves to speculate, and you can never be wrong. And so you just throw it out there, and then the press says, oh, I heard it somewhere. And it says someone's being mentioned. They never say mentioned by whom.
Right.
They just say mentioned. And the only person that knows is Donald Trump and a very small coterie of people around Donald Trump. And so it's a waste of time. It's idle speculation until you know, and unless you're in Donald Trump's head or the head of the people closest to him, it is absolute guesswork by everybody. Now, the one thing that I would recommend to Donald Trump that he do is stay true to his outsider nature. He needs, and I say this as an establishment insider Republican, he needs to make sure that he is putting people into places of power who are really bona fide outsiders. He has earned the right to change that town. And he has to be careful not to listen to those people who say, you've got to appoint this experienced person or that experienced person. It's contrary to a lot of conventional wisdom, but Donald Trump has been successful being contrary to conventional wisdom. And that should be, if I were advising him, the way he continues to think now.
That's very interesting, because the popular thought would be, well, he's an outsider, so he needs to surround himself with people who have been there, done that, the experts, blah, blah, blah. But you're saying not necessarily true, especially in all cases. It's
a mix. And instead of having the mix be 50-50, insider, outsider, experienced, non-experienced, I think that he should have a mix that's much closer to 80-20 outsider. What happens in the White House, what happens in Washington is people keep saying to you, this is how it's always been done. And the pressure starts to mount. You can't deviate.
Right.
His strength has been he deviates from these norms. And so he should also surround himself with people who know they want to change Washington. Now, there may be some people, I think Newt Gingrich fits the category of someone who's been around, who is an insider, but has always thought like an outsider. There will be several people like that, but don't fall for the insider experienced act.
Gotcha.
He's got to have his thumb on and have the right people in there to change Washington.